Bravo 6. Going dark.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to some Ready or Not. It is me, Zeus, bringing you guys a casual clear of the hospital. Basically, just haven't given the map some love in a minute. Don't really know what I'm going to talk about yet, but I just know I need to give the hospital some love. This is the loadout I'm wearing. I'll start from the... Ooh, excuse me, hiccup. From the bottom. I have anti-flash goggles that basically just gives me the sunglasses. I have a mod that gives me the night vision goggles that look like this. Night vision goggles all the time. And there's one that makes them look cool with like the 4 sections. In my slots, I'm running hollow point rounds on my primary, armor piercing on the secondary, 10 9-bangs, that's a funny one right there. Door wedges. The armor is probably never going to change on the primary premise that I don't really feel much of a difference anyway, so I just leave that. The long tack is going to change off and on, so running a battering ram this time. The suppressor on the USP, and obviously no pistol sight, because I hate pistol sights. And then, yeah, the AR-18, my old favorite. I've just been liking these short rifles as of lately, so not anything that's like, well, like this. It's just way too long, but just nice, compact assault rifle. So that all out of the way, I will see you guys in there, and we will check out the raid. Alright, so I think I've got me an idea as to what I should talk about during this video, because I got to thinking the other day, I play this game in a weird manner where I'm always solo, and I have a mod that turns everybody into, you know, bad guy, so I can take gunfights, but what would you guys think about I don't know what they would call it, like academy mode or something like that, for like teaching people ROE and like how tasers work and hollow point round, like what type or kind of ammo to bring for different scenarios. Like it would just kind of be a almost like Siege School, but for Ready or Not. So it would be Ready or Not School. Just basically would teach you the kind, because this game does have some pretty complex mechanics to it, so could kind of just teach you how those work, type of deal. That water fountain looked like a person. I almost pissed my pants. Yeah, academy mode, where it would just basically teach you the ins and outs of the game. Where you should use what types of ammo are useful against what types of enemies, or I guess suspects, pardon me. Enemies. Stuff like that, just things of that nature. Just a all-around course on how to play the game most effectively. What ROEs actually are, because I don't know if I'm just crazy or if I'm just dumb, but I have never found anything outside of like wikis and like forums that tell you what the ROE are. There used to be, I remember, under the map, like when you're selecting like barricaded suspects, it will tell you like a vague general descriptor, like, yeah, you can't just go in guns a-blazing, you need shot at first, and then that's a per suspect basis kind of thing. You can't just shoot people before you've yelled at them, or something like that, basically. You don't really know what they exactly are, but they give you vague ideas. And, I don't really like that, so maybe this academy mode would teach you the even more basic, I guess, tactics of the game. Yeah, tasing people, arresting people, breaching doors, worrying about overpenetration, teach you about the factions of the game, so how they will all react. I don't know what else. Any additional mechanics they add, basically. But I think that'd be kind of neat. And instead of, I don't know, I don't think they should reduce the amount of suspects, but perhaps instead, in this academy mode, they reduce the amount of civilians. So you can be you're not terrified to take gunfights, you know, thinking that, oh, I'm going to kill a civilian kind of thing. It's there's less civilians to have to worry about. This would go down. But anyway, yeah, so back to what I was saying. Sorry, I heard the voices. I kind of focused up a second. But, yeah, in this casual mode, or academy mode, or whatever we would call it, I feel like the first two there went straight through that guy, but I'm going to watch that back and be like, you obviously whiffed. But, back to what I was saying, you have your casual mode, or academy mode, that teaches you all this stuff, and then instead of reducing the enemies, it just reduces the amount of civilians, so that you're not too scared to take gunfights, but you still get the idea of arresting people and suspects, trying to be non-lethal, you know, it'll kind of do something like that. Or maybe they're individual little training portions, where it's just a short little level, kind of. For example, we can use this room, right? If this door was locked, they could teach you about your long gadget, or you have C2, or something like that. Right, like this door is also locked, so you need to use the C2 charge to blow through it. And then, or the mirror gun, right? It tells you to look around, look up for traps, stuff like that. Just little tips and tricks. But then, for those who are more advanced in the game, it could just be a, well, tactical realism mode. Think kind of like, actually, Ghost Recon Breakpoint. How it came out in a looter-shooter style, and then they made it a more traditional Ghost Recon game. They got rid of, like, not gear level, I can't remember what it is, like gear rarity, and they basically made it like a traditional Ghost Recon game, where it's all the guns are the same, and it's more based on like a realistic type of game now, instead of like that. So this would just remove all that filler stuff. So adds your civilians back in, and adds additional suspects as well. Suspects are more accurate when shooting, they do more damage, they are less willing to surrender, and I don't know, things like that. Gunfights happen more often, I think, would be important, because especially if they are to the extent of taking over hospitals, I'm sure they're not above taking a couple of pop shots at police officers. I haven't reloaded yet. That was a headshot, the first one. Not a monster, I don't want him to sit there and suffer. Except I do. It's just his body ragdolling. Patch this up for a second. Now I'm gonna go back here and clear this, but sorry, I'm sitting here walking myself through what I'm doing here. But yeah, stuff like that. It makes the enemies more difficult, and therefore you get like a score. Perhaps they could do like a rank system, for example, like real life ranking. So if you complete more of these, you'll go from like a deputy to a lieutenant to a sergeant to a whatever, right? And then kind of like that. Actually, and that could even be a game mode. Way back in the day when I made the Ready or Not, but I'm the bad guy video, right? Where you get to be the hostiles or whatnot, right? They could have something even in the same vein as that, where then you also get a pay raise, and for each successful mission, you get to buy more advanced optics, more advanced armor, things of that, advanced weaponry even, for Christ's sakes. So like a pepper ball gun, the rubber bullet idea, like you buy rubber bullets and things like that. And it would kind of make sense for the game as well, because, well, rubber bullets would be cheap, and so that's obviously going to be cheaper than real ammo. The more suspects you arrest, and you don't kill everybody, the more money you get. The more money you get, the more or the more rank you get, the more rank you get, the more money you get, and it's kind of, you see what I mean? It's a one hand feeding the other kind of scenario. And you would still learn the basics of your game, you would still learn the advanced things, and this is actually, excuse me, this is after you've learned the basics. So the more you abide by your ROE, the more you abide by your ROE, and the more civilians you save, and the more suspects you can arrest, as opposed to just outright killing, because that's a lot of paperwork. So on and so forth. Just better and better rewards for just being a better overall police officer kind of thing, where it's like you're not going in here guns blazing. And then it's not like you get penalized for going in guns blazing, you just promote slower. Something of that nature. Not still 100% confident. Again, I just came up with this idea right now. But then there's also being the terrorists or the suspects, I guess the word would be, because I made this into terrorist hunt, and I think this particular group is a terror cell that I'm fighting against right now. These they're like a separatist group from some country, but anyway, yeah, you're part of this terror group and stuff like that. That could be like an alternative mode. Or kind of like what Deathloop did with the whole people can invade you as Juliana, and you can kind of mess with the other officers and make them check their corners and stuff like that, maybe. Just without... And I figured it out yesterday. In order to keep it balanced, you only let them hip fire. That way it's not, they can't just be sitting in a corner and all that stuff. They can only hip fire at you. So that would keep them kind of inaccurate, and then they still die in like one bullet to the chest kind of thing. I don't know. Let me know what you guys would think, though, down in the comments. If you guys liked the video, please give it a like. You've made it this far, and I'd appreciate the hell out of it. And if you guys like this kind of content, a sub is always appreciated, too. Trying to get to 1,000 by the end of the year. But, yeah, without further ado, hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and you guys take it easy. Peace out.